What's going on, people? So, like I was saying at some point this morning, everything's starting to run together because I've recorded a few reviews already. So, these right here, right? See that side of the box and all that good stuff? Looking fairly familiar, right? Yeah, it probably does because I've covered a lot of these in the past, right? Mostly last year. I haven't bought so many this year, but still, I've done it a lot. And so, I'm not going to do the full review thing because there's no reason. So, I, this one right here, it stood out to me. So, real quick, you can see like very much the same sort of thing, right? Yeah, everything about it minus like the colors. So, if you want a full-on breakdown or whatever, this here sunflower review, go ahead. That's out there on the internet. There's also always a link across the top and at the end of the video. You can watch it through that means if you want to, but if you want the full-on breakdown and all that good stuff, watch that one. Just pretend that where you see yellow, you see blue. And that's pretty much, for the most part, it, right? Now, these right here, like I said, I'm gonna make this quick because why not? What color is this? What do they call this? They call it White and Oyster Grey. Now I remember that, because I remember looking at that thinking like, I see a lot of blue on here, right? Like, shouldn't you call it something about some blue, right? But whatever, they didn't, so we're just gonna pretend that they did, and I'm gonna call these the Asics Gel-Lyte III OG in the blue and white and oyster gray colorway. How difficult was that, huh? Actually, real quick, I need to grab another box because I forgot I was gonna compare to something else. We're gonna do that before we get into the review. So, I did have the box nearby, I just kind of forgot to get it over here, you know what I'm saying? It happens. So, checking this out, right? One of the things that I liked about these was that they kind of reminded me of these, which I'm a huge fan of, right? I don't know if you remember this, it was from like that DNA pack, they did this pair, then they also did a white and red pair, right? It was kind of one of those things where they made them to look like some of the original Air Max 1s, and they released the Air Max 1s to go with each one that was in a pair of original Huarache colorways. I remember somebody on one of the reviews of this commented and said something about it, like, oh, this reminds me of an Air Max 1. It's like, yeah, it does. I just left the comment alone. I was like, I don't even know where to start with this. But yeah, so I saw these a while ago, bought them, liked them a whole lot, wore them last week, reminded myself of how much I like them. And so that's what kind of like made me want these, because they're very similar, right? Slightly different shade of blue, but the construction, you know, the layout, similar. Now, got all that stuff out of the way, so we can all get into the review and all that stuff. So I do like the normal stuff up front, and then we'll just kind of breeze through everything else, honestly. Across the bottom, what you're looking at down there, pretty much like your standard outsole, right? Nothing you haven't seen on a pair of Gel-Lyte 3s. So we're gonna move on past that. We're gonna move up here to this here midsole, see what's going on up here. And as you can see, not a whole heck of a lot, right? It's very plain. These Gel-Lyte 3s tend to be that way. It's fine though, right? At least in my opinion, it's fine. Some are a little more colorful. Now, slipping you a couple more pictures in there because again, since this isn't a full review, you wouldn't be able to see a whole lot of stuff about it. So I'm just gonna get in here and do this right now with the normal other shots that I show, so that way you can kind of wrap your mind around the shoe that you're looking at for what it is, at least from those two particular angles, right? And so the one other thing that I do want to point out is that you'll see this on the other pair, right? But in case you don't watch that, because again, you don't really need to, like you can see this whole thing. There's some 3M action going on down in here, so that's kind of cool, right? And also some 3M action going on down in here, right? So that's kind of cool, right? Anyways, that kind of sums up a lot of what's going on with the shoe. The one other thing to point out is that it does come with this here. This is the second pair of laces. So if the white isn't doing it for you, maybe the blue will. I think that if you put the blue in here, it's a little too much blue, right? But you know, maybe that's gonna work for some people, you know what I'm saying? I'm also too lazy to change laces because I just don't feel like I should waste my time doing that. So I always just stick with what's in there anyway. Except for that one time. Okay, so now that that's all out of the way, I'm gonna introduce some personal thoughts. I said already in this video at some point that I like these a fair amount, and I meant it, right? That's not just me saying it to try to sell you on something, because I honestly don't care at all what you do or don't buy, right? I'm just telling you how I feel about it, and you can take it and you can look at the video for yourself. and do whatever you want with your money. But I am personally cool with the price point on these things. Like I said in the previous video, I like when stuff is available without having to jump through and do too much extra effort, right? Jump through those hoops, do too much extra effort. This right here, I was able to just go on the web page, look at it, you know, think it over, think like, okay, I'll wait and I'll buy them like the next time I get paid, so I don't spend so much money out of this paycheck or something. You know, you can get to just kind of buy them at your leisure. But then when they arrive, you look at them. I did the Instagram live unboxing, and I was like, man, these are pretty all right. And I still feel that way. I've seen them multiple times. They've been sitting here on the couch waiting to be talked about. So now I'm doing it, looking at them up close again. And yeah, definitely very cool. I mean, I'm not saying it's like one of the best Gel-Lyte 3s, but I like them a whole lot. So there is that. But past that, I don't really have much else to say because I've talked about a lot of these things in the past. Like, I don't know, probably like a good 14 reviews on Gel-Lyte 3s, I think. I don't know. It's been a good number. Anyway, so now that that's all out of the way and you've seen the other pictures, I can go ahead and I can get you those last couple videos to see them on feet and all that good stuff while I ramble about comfort and sizing. These right here are a true to size fit for me, right? Some people may disagree, and I get it, right? Because they are kind of a narrow sort of build, right? Can't say they aren't. But the other thing that kind of plays into that for some people is the way the tongue is, since it's like that split sort of tongue thing, and people like to make sure it closes because if it doesn't close, it does look a little odd, honestly. So that is another reason some people go up half size, just to make sure that that shuts like they want it to. But like I said, like these, I don't ever see them in stores, at least not around here, but they're readily available online, and Asics does have a pretty generous return policy. So use that to your advantage if you're not quite sure which one to go with. But if you do figure out whatever size you want, when you do get these, like I often say, you'll be in for something of a treat, or at least your feet will be, because they're comfortable, right? I wear these things, since I have so many colors, this is one of my more worn silhouettes, right? So I wear these often and I don't regret it at all. Like, it's a purchase that I don't mind making once again and again and again, right? So what I'm saying is, like, all day comfort right here, no problem. Gonna be out there doing whatever. They're also breathable, so like it'll kind of help keep your feet somewhat cool and all that good stuff. Might be a problem in the winter maybe, but just buy some Gel-Lyte 3s in a different material, kind of like the ones that I'm gonna talk about after this, and that might do you better. But either way, as far as this whole thing goes, it's a lightweight, breathable, all day wear sort of summer shoe that works for most people in most conditions. So take from that whatever you want to. Just get your size figured out and you'll be fine. I don't think there's much else left to really cover about this or whatever, because again, I've said it a lot. I think most people just want to see what they look like. So from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'm going to knock out this last review, which is like a combination sort of thing because it's a pack. And then I will, I guess, go to work. Or maybe I might have some time to do some editing or something. We'll see. Later, people.